Welcome to Bank to Referee Talks. I am Cicely Daniels.
I'm Tiana Ibrahimovic.
Fashion Reverie takes you from the front lines of fashion to the front row.
All of Fashion Reverie Talk segments are based on published content found on fashionreverie.com.
So remember, if you want more information on the segments, go to fashionreverie.com. And if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button of this episode on YouTube.
In this episode, we are happy to have renowned jewelry designer Burkindy to talk about his brand. We will also have a discussion about the recent Met Gala with author and fashion insider Lisa Silhanek and our editor-in-chief, William Gooch. We start all of our episodes with fashion news, of course. So all of our news segments are based on the fashion news alert found on fashionreverie.com. So, Cicely, start our news segment with Jill Cardman's film Influenced.
Yes, Tiana. Well, Influence premiered in New York City on the Upper East Side, and it is a film that is centered on the social media influencer who projects a perfect life, but whose real life is totally crazy, right? We know about those kind of people. So dailyfrontrow.com spoke to Cardman about the inspiration for Influenced. And this film is actually a lampoon of the influencer culture. And it's got quite a lot of renowned actors in the cast, including Christine Taylor, Laura Bell Bundy, Nathan Lee Graham, and even cameos of Drew Barrymore, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Matt Damon. And it was really making fun of the obnoxiousness of influencers, with many of whom apparently live on the Upper East Side. But apparently, she said she's also encountered a lot of very kind, down to earth, sincere individuals that are also part of the world. So I think in the film we're going to get all of the takes, all of the people.
It's funny. I saw some clips on Instagram, and what I've seen was hilarious. So it looks like a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Especially living in New York. So, well, as far as fashion giants as LVMH, there was a rumor that they were downsizing. However, I just think that they're kind of reshuffling what works, what doesn't work. Because about a year ago, it was rumored that they were about to sell Marc Jacobs, and 50% of their share in Fenty Beauty. That hasn't happened yet, but in a sense, it kind of does make sense since we don't hear about those two brands that much anymore. So, as them being such a tough fashion giant and they're all about business and I guess what produces the best, that kind of, makes sense. So, LVMH has in its umbrella over 70 luxury brands, but that they already began divesting in some of those brands. Besides the two that are rumored that they're getting rid of, they also hold 49% of Stella McCartney. They're also trying, and they recently acquired Tiffany's. So it looks like they're just making business moves. We shall see what happens.
Well, that is quite an empire. So many brands that we love under that umbrella. So we'll see what happens.
And sometimes we don't even realize.
Exactly. My last bit of news is really fun. It is about a wedding. So Page Six recently announced that fashion designer Christian Cowan and British pop singer Sam Smith are engaged, and they have been dating for 3 years, but they were heard discussing their upcoming nuptials in the Mark Hotel in New York City as they were getting ready to walk the Met Gala red carpet. And apparently there's a hotel lobby spy. So I don't know if you're at the Mark Hotel, what they might be listening to, but it was apparently a private engagement, but they're very happy and very in love. They have been seen together, at least publicly, since 2022, when Sam Smith sang at the White House to mark then President Biden's signing of the Respect for Marriage Act. And this was the act guaranteeing federal protection for same-sex and interracial marriage. And they announced that they were a couple at the Met Gala in 2024. And at this appearance of the Met Gala, both of them wore garments that were kind of together, evoking the 1920s. Christopher Cowan had a black suit with a tie and flecked with beads, and Smith was apparently all the rage, but wearing a black Cowan design gown that weighed 52 pounds. So definitely their appearance at the Met Gala was reflecting their love and now their engagement.
Sounds lovely. So I guess we have to just keep in mind if we are at the mark to keep it down.
Um, well, that is it for our fashion news for this week. But remember, if you want to stay up to date, know what's going on in fashion, go to fashion news at fashionreverie.com. I am so excited to welcome a special guest to Fashion Reverie. I am here interviewing jewelry designer Burkindy, who has taken time out of his schedule to join us. Thank you so much. Welcome to Fashion Reverie Talks.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. I really thank all of you for the welcome me to this incredible space, and I'm very humbled. Thank you all.
Of course. Well, we are so pleased to have you. First, could you give our viewers a brief history of your fashion journey?
I'm from Burkina Faso, West Africa. Moved to New York and fell in love with the city. And in the quest of English, trying to speak English, I end up in fashion. But I'm a computer programmer by trade. But the background of me, my mother's a designer. Everybody in my family's a designer. She's an award-winning designer worldwide with Paco Rabanne, Christian Dior, and the first African designer of West Africa for 3 years in a row. But fashion, but I was a programmer. So working in fashion in New York was it's like a family territory. And I was always asked, where did you go to school for fashion? I was wondering, we don't have fashion school in Africa in general. And fast forward, I end up working at Paul Smith. And Paul Smith was where my career of fashion and jewelry design really started, because they saw on me what I couldn't see on myself. And I was doing jewelry just for myself to wear because I loved it, but couldn't find something that I feel connected to. So I decided to just make things for myself. And customers would ask, where did you find this? And I said, I made it. And one had a phone call, said, you make jewelry? I said, yes. Do you have a jewelry line? I said, no. Would you like to create one? Of course. Started at Paul Smith, and then Bergdorf's, and then small boutiques. And it's just, it was a passion that turned into something else. And so, yeah, that's in a nutshell how I end up in this whole thing. And now with the Dover Street Market, and that's dressing D'Angelo, Peace and Soul, and recently Questlove, and many, many other people. Yeah.
That is amazing. What an interesting journey. And obviously, you were your first client and your first model, and maybe your first marketer. And you found your way into all of these amazing places and all of these wonderful customers. Now, you have found an ingenious way to infuse your jewelry and your custom made garments with your Burkina Faso culture. Could you talk a little bit about that?
So when I started doing jewelry, even when I moved to America, something that came up is you have to really embrace yourself. Yes, Mother Jacqueline. Sorry, the lady is claiming
Oh, we have a special guest. I love special guests. Feel free to, if your special guest wants to be introduced or you'd like to introduce them, either way. Welcome.
I realize if you are not infused with yourself, your culture, if you don't have a stepping stone to grind yourself, there's really nowhere you can go. So it's how, and I did study there's African signs, symbols, communication, the family structure, African sculptures. It opened the Pandora box for me to really reclaim my culture. And then I started using the signs and symbols to recreate pieces of jewelry because I felt like jewelry is not just to look good; it should feel good. It should give you something, be some type of power to walk through life, and that definitely resonated to many people who would buy it and really felt like there was something into it. It was sometimes you wonder if what your thought was true, and then it ended up being what they're like. Yes.
So yes, tell me about your fashion group International Rising Star win, which occurred in 2023.
Rising Star Award was uh it was a dream. When you spend your life you doing what you love, finding passion, really doing it with your soul, and wants to have an impact not only for myself but for anybody that look like me, especially in the industry, like the jewelry industry. And then I was randomly approached to be part of the competition, and I did, and I was a finalist. But I've never thought I would win the prize for many reasons. I'm from Africa. This is like a fly in the sea. So, but it was me. It was already winning just being part of the finalists. I felt already I won something. I was there. I was recognized somehow to be there. And when my name was called as a winner, it's it's still things that you can't even believe. It was just this incredible moment, emotional, and but it was also a beginning of something else. You had to really, it's more to come. There is still, you have to keep going because this was just the beginning of something else. It's another challenge to take forward. And I always want to thank all the FGI members and everyone who was part of the jury, and all of them who saw something that I've been doing, but and it was so different. The competition, by what I do, is a little bit of out of the box. So it wasn't the most commercial jewelry, but artistically, I do know that what I do is something. But there's a difference between art and fashion and all of these things. So I was really pleased to win the award, and to have the recognition, to be able to represent people that look like me, and my countrymen. And of course, that also was back to Burkina Faso. And now I'm in a talk with the embassy of doing things for the country. And so it really brought more than just the prize.
That's amazing. Well, what extraordinary recognition. How important to have you is that representation, like you said, for yourself, for people that look like you, for your people from the country and people from Africa and people of color. So all of those people, I feel like got a step forward with you winning that award. So tell me what's next.
Next, wow. Next, it's a rebuilding. Now I'm rebuilding. It's I've had a dream forever to open a museum, and this has been a project for me for a long time, which I'm still working on. But now it's time to really refocus on the jewelry, get back in the market, which is Dover Street has been very great, and build up a business that can be self-sustainable, so I can go further and bring other areas of my life into the picture.
That is incredible. So it has been such a pleasure to have you on the show, you and your guest. We are delighted to have you. And please, Burkindy, we hope that you come back and will be a friend of Fashion Reverie Talks.
So looking love to. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It is time for one of our favorite discussions of the year, which is the Met Gala. We have two special guests today that can share their professional opinions about the looks and about the theme overall. I would like to welcome Lisa Silhanek and William Gooch that we will be discussing the Met Gala. Welcome.
We're happy to be here.
Um, I am excited to hear your thoughts and opinions. But I would first like to welcome Lisa. Lisa, you have quite a rich background in
Uh,
fashion. You've attended Met Gala. I inquired about you from a common friend. So I know quite a few things that you know about.
uh,
Um, so tell me a little bit first about your background and about back in the days when Met Gala was a little simpler when you attended.
Well, first of all, thank you. This is my first ever podcast, and I'm talking about something that's very dear to my heart because in 1982, I attended the Costume Institute, which was a fundraiser under Diana Vreeland, and it was exquisite. And the first thing you noticed when you came up the stairs and you went into the museum was how it smelled. The flowers had been set at least 24 hours in advance because they didn't close the museum. They didn't have a day off. People worked round the clock to get it to happen. And you walked in and there were just huge flower arrangements everywhere. And now it's quite different.
How interesting. How many people would usually attend? What was the attendance like?
I'm sure we could Google, but there were two very separate events. One was Diana Vreeland's invitation only guests to the dinner, which was held to the downtown side. And then there was this wonderful after party that was hosted in the Temple of Dendur. We would go, and we would obviously spend hours and hours getting dressed, but we would go in clothes that we bought, with makeup that we put on and hair that we did. And I was laughing with my friend who went with me in 1982 this morning as we remembered walking from our office on 59th and 5th. Because we'd spent so much money on the ticket, we didn't have enough money for cab fare. So we walked. And we would stand out front, and as the guests came out of the dinner, we would talk to them and take their photos and be with them. And of course, in 1982, it was names that many are not on the planet anymore, but they were not surrounded by security or protection. You could just simply walk up to them and say, I loved you in, or I've always wanted to wear, or don't you look stunning, or my mom knows you. And they would engage you in conversation for 30 seconds or 10 minutes.
How
Very different.
interesting.
I'm going to chime. May I chime? I'm going to chime in, Tiana. Lisa, could you tell how much the price of the ticket was in 1982?
It was 2 weeks' salary before taxes for me. It was $125.
And I think it's now $100,000 a plate, correct?
Well, that would be for the plate. I never got into the dining room.
Mm-hmm.
That was always very expensive. And I think, to be honest with you, even back in the early time, that it was controlled probably by members of the fashion industry, public relations, and definitely the designers. All the designers were there. When they would parade out, we had women's wear. That's all we had. We didn't have InStyle. We didn't have Google. And when the designers came out, we'd go, who's that? Who's that? Who's that?
So,
But it was
you
not
could
as
choose between attending just like the soiree versus dinner.
There were two different parties. Yes.
Great.
I
Okay.
believe that in 1982 that the dinner ticket was $250 or $3 something, which of course today would not be extraordinary, but at that time in the 1980s, it was a lot of money. And I believe that Anna Wintour, her first visit was at $125 ticket in 1982.
Interesting. I wonder if any of you saved your tickets. Like it was
I don't recall that it was a physical ticket.
oh.
I don't recall. But my friend and I, who attended the event for 20 years, have many picture books. We just don't have access to them. Otherwise, we would populate your podcast with so many photos that have been laying dormant under the bed.
How interesting. Well, let's discuss this year's theme and the looks and who was able to support the theme costume art. Which red carpet garments did you like this year? So, William, Lisa, please let us know what are your thoughts overall?
Well, I'm going to chime in first, because I want to. um, I loved Eileen Gu's bubble outfit that was really fashionist art, which was made by Iris von Hebron. It was like bubbles, and she had a bubble machine blowing bubbles around her as she walked on the red carpet. A little short cocktail dress, quite beautiful, looked great. It did reflect fashion as art. We also had Madonna doing fashion as art, where she kind of had a ship on her head that reflected what women of the Louis the 16th era would do, where and sometimes earlier they would put ships on their heads, that showed the power of the empire. My empire has a large naval fleet, so it was a little bit political and grandiose in nature, and Madonna referenced that. Laura Sanchez, I didn't like her look. Laura Sanchez Bezos, excuse me. I didn't like her look, but it did reference the great painting Madame X. So
Why did you not like it?
it was very flat and boring, and the most interesting part of the outfit was the décolletage, excuse me. Other than that, you could have got that black dress anywhere. So those are my likes. Okay, Lisa, take over.
I thought it was not fashion is art. I thought it was a costume party, like the original costume.
Yeah.
So those are not things that are saleable. There was some, let's be honest, beautiful haute couture, but not wearable. So not fashion, not. That's all I can say. It was costume.
Yeah.
Oh, but I do love Jordan Roth. But I love Jordan Roth. If he's going to the grocery store, I love him. I don't.
Well, he doesn't go to the grocery store dressed just in anything, I'm sure. If he ever goes to the grocery store.
And I do have to say, it was not on theme, but I loved what Misty Copeland. I'm a huge Misty Copeland fan, as everybody knows. I love the Michael Kors outfit that she had on, which was a kind of a leather bralette with a silk chiffon beige skirt. It was gorgeous. Wasn't on theme. It wasn't fashion as art, but it was a beautiful, beautiful garment. She looked quite lovely, as she always does. And, me and Lisa talked earlier this morning, and she said it was a beige theme. It wasn't a. Lisa, could you expound on that? It was a beige theme at the red carpet, not a fashion as art theme.
Can you honestly imagine if
team?
Well, everyone currently is being as bare as they can possibly be, and bare is skin toned, and skin toned is beige or warm tones, and I'm sorry, it's dull.
So I would guess
I'm
that you
wearing
didn't
bright
like.
colors.
I would guess
I
that
like-
you didn't like Kylie Jenner's look, Schiaparelli outfit.
Honestly, I was watching on Vogue, and because they weren't posting the people's names and they were discussing their undergarments, I became bored and turned it off. No, I couldn't tell you who wore what.
Okay.
Although I think that's a great name for a play. Who wore what when? Oh, they already did that. Sorry.
Yes, they did. So overall opinion, what did you think? Who were your favorite picks that were on theme perhaps this year?
Gooch, you
Oh,
take this.
okay, I loved Eileen Gu, as I said. Madonna, I didn't care for at all. I did like Bad Bunny. He was on theme, but that was a bit of a political, cultural statement he was making. He made himself look really about 70 years old. He made himself look old, which was a comment on ageism in fashion and in entertainment at large. The suit was quite lovely. I really did like his projection because it wasn't just a fashion statement, it was a political, cultural statement. So I did like that. I loved Anne Hathaway and Michael Kors, the beautiful
Yes.
fashion is art that she had on the back of that dress. So, these are people who really know what they're doing. And it's not just a Instagram moment to get followers. I mean, unfortunately, it's become a lot of that. And people are wearing kind of whatever they want to wear. I shouldn't say that. I think they're not wearing whatever they want to wear. They're kind of wearing what some of them are forced to wear because their tickets are being paid by the fashion houses that buy a huge table that, the seats are $100,000. So the celebrities don't pay because they are going with the brand that has bought a whole table. And the tables are $350,000 a piece. So maybe they're forced to wear things that they wouldn't wear. Actually, to be honest with you, Lisa and Tiana, I looked at the after party. Let me tell you, the looks were a lot more interesting at the after party than the actual there were more, I should say more, they were more on theme at the after party and more interesting than at the red carpet because you don't have to get $100,000 plate ticket that luxury houses paid for, and so you have to wear their clothes.
I was more fascinated by the production that goes on behind the scenes and all of the people that worked in unison in a very short period of time to get those clothes on those people and onto the red carpet. Because you're seeing one celebrity dressed to the nines, and maybe you're getting a nod to your stylist or your accessories or the designer, but you're not hearing anything about the backstory of how many hours went into those designs and the execution of them and how many people went into it. So I lost interest when it was just a screaming match of people yelling over here, when I think if you went up to any of those, I'm going to call them models. If you went up to any of the guest models and asked them who they were wearing and how it became inspired, I think they would have been lost in that. They were just modeling costumes.
And so what do you think about the controversy around this year's co-chair, Lauren Sanchez? What are your thoughts on that?
Here's my thought on that. You just said the 2027 Met Gala theme, controversy.
Is that really the theme?
It's gotta be, Gooch. It's gotta be. Put it in a box and ship it. It's
I
ready,
love it. I love it.
right? Nobody
Well, I think that this is
understood.
what they're always looking for at the Met Gala, some sort of controversy.
Well, they certainly got it.
For sure.
They get it. And Lisa, Lisa told me something I did not know. I just wasn't aware of it. Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez Bezos, they became the co-chairs, and they gave $10 million in December to the Costume Institute, and they were secretly, silently pushed into that position. Nobody saw it coming, or at least they pretended they didn't see it coming. So here they are, and there were so many people, Taraji Henson. The list goes on, and it's in my fashion news breaking news article. If you go to fashionreview.com, you can read about it. People who were really upset and kind of boycotted. But Lisa told me something, and Lisa, I really want you to expand on this. I did
Oh,
not
I'm
know
going to be in so much trouble. What did I tell you?
that the trucks stop in the bike lanes, the Amazon trucks, and the deliverers are taking product out of the trucks and delivering it and causing congestion in New York. So we have this man who's causing congestion problems. And let's talk about the labor issues and the layoff issues at the Washington Post and at Amazon. But yet he's this big honoree co-chair. Lisa, could you talk about that, about the truck? Because I didn't know anything about it.
Okay. First off, let me be very specific. When Jeff and Lauren call me and invite me to next year's Met Gala controversy, I will accept the invitation. I'm one of the few people who has never used Amazon because I see how it is destroying my local neighborhood, my grocery stores, my Duane Reade, my CVS. And as a older person, I use my sidewalk for walking, and Amazon uses my sidewalk for taking product out of their truck and putting it on the sidewalk. And then their workers, who I have great empathy for, come over and they figure out who's going where and they put it on their trolleys. And some of the trolleys are bikes and some are motorized golf carts. And they proceed to use my sidewalk for their services. So yes, I am overwhelmed. They on Third Avenue, they park. It's on Third Avenue. It's bike lane, parking, and then lanes, and then bus lane. And they park bike lane parking. They park on the third lane, and they use the parking area to pull everything out of the truck. And then the guys and gals have to go back and forth through the bike lane to get to the sidewalk to load their electric bikes to take them on the sidewalk to the deliveries. So it is, I feel very strongly that congestion pricing for New York City was actually problematically started by the Amazon trucks parking randomly and just creating instantaneous warehouses on our streets. Okay, so I'll never work in New York again. How about that?
Well, wow, that's a very interesting take on the other side of a real life in New York City. So now back to the Met Gala. Obviously, everyone is excited to see all the looks each year. What do you, Lisa and William, think could be implemented or changed about the Met Gala so that it is more about the actual exhibit at the Costume Institute with less focus on celebrities, which I think would be very hard to achieve, but would love to hear your opinions.
The only way you're going to refocus the Met Gala away from celebrities and back to the original plan is to start something new. It is a machine. It's beautifully done. It's executed. When it's executed where you cannot get. I was supposed to have dinner with a friend who lives on Fifth Avenue at 78th Street at Monday night, and we booked it, I don't know, a month ago, and she called me and she said, I can't get out of my building. If I get out, I can't come back in. And that's the excitement. So you're not going to be able to undo that. But things I would love to do is remove the word amazing from every single person as they come up, because everything's amazing now, and we've lost the context of that. And then I would like to invite some of the old guard back. But other than that, I think it's
Like who?
Well, most of them are dead, but it would be so much fun to have Betsy Bloomingdale and Nan Kempner and Lynn Wyatt and Cher. Although Cher was there. But the gals who really made the designers famous, because they wore their own clothes and they bought their own jewelry and they got help with hair and makeup. But they were really there to support art. I don't feel like we're there to support art anymore. I feel like it's a very commercial machine. It's wonderfully run. Honest to goodness, when Jeff and Lauren call me and invite me and offer me X million dollars at my next event, I'm going to take it. So I'm the hypocrite.
I love
Well-
the point about the everything is amazing. It's true. Like we're missing some criticism, and another Joan Rivers on red carpet is, needs to be resurrected.
I miss Joan Rivers so much, from the perspective that she was the first person to say, "Who are you wearing?" which brought fashion to the limelight. And remember, she did it for Oscars, not at the Costume Institute, because we knew what you were wearing. It was probably leaked by your designer's PR person, who may or may not have been fired the next day for having leaked it, because you just never knew.
Right. Interesting.
To piggyback on what Lisa so brilliantly said, which I can't say much more because she just put it in a wonderful, wonderful way in context in such a great way. I didn't say the word. I didn't say the word amazing, but but I would really like to see more fashion industry professionals, real ones, not the Instagram social media ones. Well, maybe a few of those could come, but I would like real industry professionals be given access to the Met Gala, to interviewing people on the runway. Now it's all for photographers screaming. I mean, the screaming is really annoying. Over here, over there, all that screaming. But they do that at the Oscars. They do that at all the big red carpets. So I don't think you can silence that. But just have some real industry people there talking about, the theme of the gala, talking about the theme of what people are wearing, how it came together. We get a little bit of that now, but now what you get is a very constructed, orchestrated promotion of it. But the grit and the work and the development gets no media attention at all. And there are a lot of people who put a lot of time and work into this, and they are unsung. And I just think if they had more real media people on the carpet, we would get a lot more. And I actually think it would be a little bit more interesting to the consumers. We underestimate.
What do you mean by real media people?
Like real fashion editors on the red carpet, real reporters and journalists. I mean, some are there, but not a lot. And just get them interviewing and getting their perspective. And, of course, it would scare some of the celebrities who probably wouldn't know how to answer the questions because, you have to give them the questions.
They most likely don't have 100K for a ticket.
No. They wouldn't have to be in there. They could be on the carpet. You wouldn't have to be at the actual gala. No, we wouldn't have 100K. That's a fact. But we could actually be on the carpet and interviewing people. I mean, now all I see, I'm sure they're there. Some of them are there. All we see is the photographers over here, over there, over here, over there. And, and the people helping, Beyonce with the ridiculous outfit she had on, move her coat over here and move her coat. Oh, that's all we see. But I think
she got really lost in that coat.
It was a horrible creation and a horrible reintroduction to herself after 10 years to the Met Gala. It did not do her well at all. I don't know what that was about. But, everybody has a bad day. But and she had a really bad day. But I would really like to see more journalists, more fashion editors and journalists on the carpet interviewing. And that's what I'd like to see.
Okay,
I
and
don't know if
I
it's,
would
I don't know if
like
it's possible,
go,
but
I would like to go into the party and see the guests mingling. I'd like to see the flowers on the table. I'd like to see the room lit up. How how Jordan Roth, my favorite, was able to sit down with his extra set of hands at the dining table. I'd love to see the celebrities and all the and I'd like to see, okay, for example, Lauren Sanchez's sister came in. She did not walk the red carpet, but the photo I saw of her, she looked beautiful. I'd like to see who else was in the dinner who didn't walk the red carpet and see what they wore, because they probably bought their gowns. That's what I'd like to see.
yeah, yeah.
Now, quickly, we didn't mention Heidi Klum, and I thought that she would be an interesting one because was she on theme or was she not on theme? What do you guys think?
She was definitely on theme, but it was a really unattractive look. But, if you're going for theme and not beauty, Heidi Klum did it.
It was a costume. And when I first saw her, I thought it was a salute to the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, with the Statue of Liberty welcoming all, the first piece of fashion anyone sees when they come to America. And then I found out she wasn't.
Yes, that's what I thought too. That would have been a better option.
And I have to say, if I have to interject, Tiana Taylor with that head to toe glitter,
Fringe.
uh,
Silver fringe.
silver fringe head to toe. I swear she looked like a Christmas tree ornament. Lord knows she did. It was a horrible look. And I, in your review, and you wrote in your piece, she looked like Rip Taylor in drag, but she just looked really ridiculous. It was not on theme. It wasn't even a good look. I was like, so I wanted to tell a girl, somebody lied to you. You don't look good.
This is it's a complicated conversation to have
It is.
because we don't know the backstory. As a woman who's in business, I've always tried to be supportive of everyone, but there has to be a backstory on many of those. I'm going to continue to call them costumes, because some of them were so awkward and unlikely. It just, honest to goodness, I'm thinking of the Gilded Age where Mrs. Russell's making her daughter wear whatever and she's trying to fight it and it's not working.
Right.
But I sense that from what's now happening. When you do get an invitation, do you get to choose who your designer is, or are you associated with one? And
Right.
when they create something for you, do you have to wear it because it fits? Because as a woman who has attended galas, thank you, God, I've often had times where I got home that night and I put the shoes on and I said, oh, these are not going to work. What else can I wear? Because the shoes made the outfit. I just wonder what direction fashion is going in. Fashion is not art, said Bill Blass, but is costume fashion. Is that where we're headed? Or is Amazon going to decide what fashion is for us and at what price and at what size? So I think the controversy around the Met Gala is valid to open people's eyes to our spending habits and how we vote with our dollars. So as you get ready for Mother's Day and for upcoming events, graduations, weddings, vote with your dollars and remember that we're sitting here talking about an experience that was for most people it was 2 hours, but for the rest of for the workers behind, it was thousands of hours, and they're not getting the credit. And so spend time with your mom. Give her an experience. Don't give her a something.
Okay.
I'm off my podium now.
Well, thank you guys for this wonderful discussion. It was really fun discussing some of these looks and the controversies and the costumes. So I look forward to welcoming you for our next discussion soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, that's it for this episode of this season of Fashion Reverie Talks.
We would like to thank Burkindy, Lisa Silhanek, and Fashion Reverie Editor-in-Chief, William Gooch.
For information on these and other stories, go to fashionreverie.com. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and thanks so much for watching.
Goodbye.